and welcome to this video. Now I do want to give a disclaimer. I am not a tech guru by any means. I have definitely played a lot with Tiny Glade. I've learned a lot from people around me and taking inspiration and learning from them, but I'm not one to demonstrate all of this stuff. I will try my best to answer any questions that people are having, especially since the game just released. There's a lot of questions within the Discord, so you can find me lurking there and responding to any questions that are asked. Or if you have any questions, feel free to comment them and I will do my best to describe them below. But since handcrafted stairs are being one of the most asked questions, besides whether or not we can make waterfalls, which the answer to that is a no, it's being worked on. It was not prepared for the final release. But talking about handcrafted stairs, there are two methods I can tell you, both of which I will give a disclaimer to say they are grueling. It takes time, it's going to take patience, and it takes a lot to finick with. So I recommend, well, if you are still new to Tiny Glade, to use the path generated stairs, which are just using a platform and using paths to create the stairs. Now you can get it pretty high, in my opinion, but if this is not high enough for you, then you might want handcrafted stairs. The other handcrafted stairs are if your mountains or hills are too high and too apart, then we can get some crafted stairs here. With these two methods, I definitely prefer the second way. I think it gets you a cleaner type of look. This method does take a lot more patience, to say the least, and it's definitely harder. And I'm more used to doing this one. I've actually not really tried the first method I'm going to explain. It's easier, but it was also introduced to me personally after I got used to these stairs. So I didn't have a reason really to go back to the other one. But I'll just get straight into both of them. I say straight, it's already been a little while. So this is a glade I opened up earlier, and I was gonna just delete it, but I noticed it kind of has the stairs I'm going to talk about first. But here, if you notice, you have that auto-generated stairs, which is used by the pathway right at the front. Now, the second part of the stairs, this one is quite an easy rendition. You can make this a lot bigger, a lot taller. You can change it to how you'd like. But this is by using the tool of the blocks. And you can use it with circle pathways as too, which I will also quickly demonstrate afterwards. But by using little blocks, you can layer them up with one another to create your own little steps. Now, with all of the merlons, and either if you have a railing, you might not want this railing bit to be there, and you can easily do that by having a building, and I'll shrink it down just for now, using the same size of building and placing it, and also shrinking it down. I tend to make it a little smaller, but it typically needs to be about the same height. And sometimes if you don't line it up properly, let's say this is slightly turned, you're not going to get all of them. So it might be frustrating at first, but this is how you just get rid of that merlon feel. Now, this is where it starts to get annoying. If you want multiple steps, which are just multiple of these platforms connected to one another, right? Let's say I want like maybe a third step here. And you can just slowly start making your steps all the way up. And if you can, I'd suggest keeping that first step a pathway step, because that just makes your life a little bit easier, and I actually think it doesn't look that bad. Let's see, wait. This is just annoying me. Okay. When you add a pathway, the merlons on the side do get rid of each other, but if you see where this is going, if you want the railing to be gone or the merlons to be gone, you would have to place another block inside. It's easier if you don't start with pre-generated stairs, in my opinion. Yeah. So I just put this in. We have our little steps. Imagine this was over here. I guess I should have built it into the thing, but here I am. If you add stairs and you're like, I don't want these side bits, you have to, oh, whoa. I think it's by clicking on the thing twice. By clicking on the eraser tool, if you erase here, you aren't going to get it. You have to erase near the inside of this block area. So I had to erase all the way, if you notice where the red circle, I had to erase all the way in this area rather than outside here. So going in slowly is a better bet from trying to erase the stuff you want to do. If your wall is a little thicker, you might be okay, but that is this method. Honestly, I think it looks alright. You can do a lot of things with it. With this method, I will say, you are able to raise up the last bits. So if you wanted a type of platform or a bridge that kind of leans in and goes through, oh. Yeah. As you can see, those actually don't need to be the same height. It's quite a little bit underneath it that it will get rid of the merlons. So if that helps you with anything, I'm happy. But with this method, you can just raise up these bottom parts to however you feel and kind of get a idea for a bridge you might want raised or something. Let's see. It might take some finicking around, but you can try and get a raised bridge perhaps over a river or something if that kind of gets you the steps that you would want, or a bridge type feel. But that can lead you up to here as well, kind of like this was shown previously. Before I move into the next method, I will say this is doable by circles just the same. So if you wanted to try and make an easy spiral staircase, I would recommend perhaps doing this method. Now, I don't recommend spiral staircases for anyone because until you're used to this stuff. But until then, I'd suggest not. But if you notice the same size circle doesn't get the merlons out, just slowly drag the circle from the side and you will try and get that. For some reason, it likes to be a little bit annoying, so you might need another third one. Yeah. Or just raise it, perhaps, if that actually makes you feel happier. But doing the same thing, this one is easier to snap because in circles, if the roof is already flat, then you can easily snap it onto each other. Let's see. Then slowly drag. There you go. So if you kind of get the gist of what I'm doing, you could hypothetically take it and go in a circle spiral, or you could just go against, let's say you have a small little, you say you have a small little hill, perhaps you're slowly going up like a curved hill, and you kind of just want it, or you just want a curved look around, let's say like this corner, perhaps. You would want it around here. Then you can use that same method to try and get that curved kind of look. And this is what I call a test of patience. So this method, you want flat walls. Now I'm not going to talk about spiral staircases right now, so stick with me. You want a flat wall and you want to put it up and against the wall. Now I would suggest trying to have your walls with 2 nodes instead of a wall where there might be multiple, as that just makes it harder to get a flat wall and that takes more adjusting. So you would need a flat wall. And I'm the type of psychopath, or I'm the type of insane person who cuts before coloring, but I will do the good thing and tell you, if you know what color you want to go for, let's say I want to go with this, actually let's go with white. I want to go with white steps, like stone steps. I would say to color first and then slightly adjust it so the height is at the place you want to be. Now this is too thick, and also I'm insane for my demonstration. I'm going to quickly take one of these. Using a block underneath it, I will put it so that way the merlons are disappeared from the entrance of where this step is going to come from. So by taking a step that leads up to the place, I would even suggest, this is where finicking comes into. You want to get it as close to the wall as you'd like it to be. And I'd say keep this top bit of the wall to kind of where you want the height to be. And if you notice the step goes up and down here, I don't know if my mouse is on, so I'm just going to use this tool. You see this little bump out and you don't want it. That means you have to cut the wall by 2 or 3 wide steps. And sometimes the height isn't where you exactly want it to be. Let's say this is like annoying you, although this is actually perfectly fine. You can adjust each height of the wall. There's a little sheep here. Said to say hi. Okay, thank you. So with this method, oh, wrong tool. With this method, using 2 flat walls, you can change your point of height, so that way you can kind of get an idea of where to draw them to. Now this is a lot easier with the full release game and with even the second version of the demo, because we can adjust where we want the wall. When I first learned this in the demo, I had to physically draw each wall to the best of my ability because we weren't able to move it or adjust it. Okay, I'm gonna clip in here and say something I have noticed is if you get it really close to the ground, you might get away with not having to cut it. It's only after it starts getting raised a little bit from the ground that little dimension in shape occurs. So if you get it close and flat enough to the ground for your last step or two, you might be able to save yourself from the hassle of having to cut it. So this is a little uneven, so I would then come in and adjust each little step myself, because I do go crazy for this game. With cutting the wall, you could cut it as short as 1 brick if you want to make sure you have that flat surface. If you cut it about 2 bricks in, you also get that flat surface. And 3 bricks is kind of where it starts cutting it, because anywhere just even over 3 bricks, like this is just over about the 3 brick line, you get that little chopped up bit. And even with the 3 brick, it doesn't have a flat side. So on my safe side, I keep it about 1.5 to 2. And that way, if I need to adjust the size for any reason, I can. I definitely prefer this method. It's a lot more cohesive and concise than this one, but it's definitely more grueling, especially if you have big staircases. This is one of my builds when I was testing out the full release. This is a lot of a taller staircase, and this has some auto-generated stairs at the bottom, but this is a grueling little one. I actually didn't mind how long that one took me. As for my olden glade with my moon thicket witch mansion, I tried to do a spiral staircase. Now this takes up the same thing of each brick, but you have to draw the bricks originally in a spiral, adjust the spiral to how you want it to be before cutting it up, everything. If you check out that time lapse and look at the timeline, you will definitely see how long it took me just to carve this out, and I had to recolor it later. I will put that video in the description for anyone who wants to check that out, because that actually has a really long time lapse of me doing a spiral staircase. But regardless, those are the 2 ways of making handcrafted stairs. Now, I hope this video wasn't very long, but I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, if you want clarification over anything, you can either find me in the Tiny Glade Discord, which is always in the description, and there's a bunch of other people there who are super willing to help out with tips, tricks, some new techs that maybe you haven't thought of before. Hugh's channel, or I believe they're called Freakout on YouTube, also has some really good texts that I would suggest. I'm gonna link them down in the description as well, especially beginner texts. So with all of that said and done, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope this video was all right. This is definitely made quicker. I have another time lapse coming out later this week, but I just wanted to get this out there as soon as possible. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!